Oh my God! Run! Run fast! It's all collapsing. Terrified screams shattered the quiet morning. On July 17, 2026, around 9 o'clock am, a massive mountainside near the Wujiang River intersection in Pengshui County, Chongqing seemingly solid just moments before suddenly gave way with a deafening roar. Within seconds, hundreds of tons of boulders and mud cascaded down like a tidal wave, instantly swallowing over a dozen residential buildings. Some houses were ripped completely off their foundations and swept into the raging Wujiang River, while others were instantly crushed to rubble under the weight of the rocks. Plumes of dust choked the sky as the sounds of impacts and explosions echoed through the air. It looked like a scene straight out of the apocalypse. Even more heartbreakingly, whistleblowers online reported that a public bus packed with passengers happened to be passing by and was completely crushed under the falling debris. Out of 19 people on board, 18 tragically lost their lives. The sole survivor managed to crawl out just in time, hiding in a narrow gap between massive rocks. Eyewitnesses, still in shock, recalled, the boulders were bigger than the houses themselves. When they hit, it felt like an earthquake. Over 10 buildings just vanished in the blink of an eye. This sudden mountain collapse wiped out a local gas station, a fireworks shop, and a resort hotel. Because it was summer break and the weather was scorching hot, many students and elderly residents were staying indoors. Based on the number of floors and units in the buried structures, netizens estimated that hundreds, or even up to 1,000 people, could be trapped or missing. One driver who narrowly escaped stated with lingering fear, "If my car had been just 30 seconds faster, I would have been buried alive. I watched the mountain come down right in front of me, my legs went completely weak, and I just ran for my life." Why did such a seemingly stable mountain collapse so catastrophically? While continuous heavy rain in the preceding days saturated the soil, the shadow of a man-made disaster quickly emerged. Footprints from past footage revealed that this mountain slope had been artificially excavated into a near-vertical cliff. Houses were built directly at the base of the slope with absolutely no buffer zone or protective engineering, all to maximize construction space. This reckless cutting of the mountain completely compromised its geological stability. This was no ordinary landslide. It was a textbook rockslide disaster triggered by blind, unchecked development. Yet, as always when a life or death tragedy strikes, the authorities' routine damage control moved much faster than any rescue mission. Immediately following the disaster, all roads leading to the scene were tightly sealed off with security barriers, and strict traffic restrictions were imposed. Netizens quickly pointed out that this is the regime's standard playbook: immediately lock down the area to suppress information and control the narrative. In fact, China seemed to enter an overnight apocalypse mode. From south to north, typhoons, catastrophic floods, landslides, and extreme heat waves struck one after another. Over a dozen provinces and cities including Guangxi, Hubei, Hunan, Gansu, and Fujian were hard hit. In Shangri-La, Yunnan, a sudden mudslide trapped over 2,000 tourists and hundreds of vehicles deep inside a scenic area. In Wuhan, Hubei, raging floodwaters snapped heavy steel chains, twisting and tearing apart a prominent local floating bridge. Yet, while millions of citizens were displaced and left grieving across the country, top-level bureaucrats remained focused on their public relations show. Just 2 days before the disaster, the top leadership was seen elegantly strolling through a luxury residential community in Shanghai, delivering grand speeches to the cameras about thinking what the people think and worrying about what the people worry about, while issuing detached, bureaucratic instructions on flood control. This out-of-touch rhetoric has deeply enraged disaster victims who are fighting for survival. Media reports revealed that in the hard-hit areas of Guangxi, angry residents went so far as to graffiti bathroom doors with slogans like "Xi Jinping, step down," and "Where were you during the Guangxi floods, Xi Jinping?" Even more chilling is how the cowardice and corruption of local officialdom turned a natural hazard into an unavoidable human tragedy. According to leaks reported by overseas media, the casualties and property losses in multiple regions reached such catastrophic levels because local governments, terrified of political accountability and losing their official posts, actively delayed weather warnings, stalled decision-making, and outright refused to organize timely evacuations before the floods hit. For these officials, political survival always comes before human survival. It perfectly embodies what Chinese netizens have bitterly summarized as the regime's infrastructure paradox: storing too much water during droughts, and releasing it too aggressively during floods, long before a natural disaster even arrives. The